Hi, I'm Tyler Furry, and I want to talk over the last week or two's worth of the newly revealed cards. Starting off, Dark Necromancer, we'd seen this earlier, but we got better quality scans now. On summon, send a Fiend or Zombie Ritual, and then add a Ritual spell, which is decent Vendread support. I'm not sure what Fiend deck it would be supporting, given I don't think there are many Fiend Ritual decks that can summon from grave, but whatever. If it's banished, target a banished level 4 or Fiend or Zombie. Special summon, this feels like it's, again, mainly aimed at Vendread, which is, this is fine for Vendread, it's just, Vendread needs a lot more help than this. Volcarion, the Rotting Phoenix. This thing is actually really good for the zombie synchro pile that's existed for ages and never had much hand swarming. Because if you control a zombie monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Thank God. During your main phase, you can return this card from the field to your hand. Special summon one zombie monster from your hand. Wow. Starting to actually does something. The 0 defense and tuner combo is actually really important because this means it can be summoned with Solitaire from deck. Just a really good card that does something Zombie has desperately needed for ages. Curse of the Ancient Turtle. I mean, this is obviously Pyramid Turtle homage. Banish a zombie from your hand or graveyard. Send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, Foolish Burial, but the cost is a little steep for zombies, even with things like Shiranui's. When your zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon a zombie with your deck with 2,000 or less defense. Each effect can only activate once per turn. I mean, this is pretty clearly straight up just Pyramid Turtles float. So, I really don't think this is good enough to see play unless we get more zombie support that benefits from the cost for the foolish effects. But I don't know if it's even good enough then, unless the support is crazy. Mini Melian, level 1 psychic effect, 1/1. Water, level 4. Banish one other card from your hand, special summon this card from your hand. Is this intended as Malice support? You can banish one level 4 or lower monster you control, special summon one monster from your deck with the same original type and attribute that banished monster had, but 1 or 2 levels lower than its original level. I guess not, because Malice only has level 3s and Link 3s. And frankly, this is just a strange backwards ass modify. Severing Strike, we're getting some DD, Gruffer, and all that other conglomerate lore cards. If this card's banished from your hand or field to activate a monster effect, except during the damage step, you can apply one of these effects based on one of the card types banished. Monster, negate this spell or trap on the field until the end of this turn. Probably the weakest effect here. Spell, draw 2 cards, trap, banish one monster on the field. This wouldn't be bad, except it's kind of a bricky continuous spell that does nothing on its own. If it's banished to activate a monster effect, you can add one of your other banished cards to your hand. This is an interesting array of effects that don't really amount to all that much. DD Post, gain monsters you control gain 300 for each card type, monster, spell, or trap among your banished cards. Okay, it can be an okay stat boost if all 3 types are banished, which, yes, Malice can pretty reasonably achieve, but why would you? Why would you run this unsearchable continuous trap? Once returned during the main phase, you can banish 1 card from your hand or graveyard, then you can special summon one of your banished cards, shuffle one of your banished cards into the deck. You would think there would be more to this, but no, it's just banish recycling. If this card is banished, you can place it face up on your field. Why are we gold sarking for this? Beast of Talwar, the Sword Summit. Level 7 Dark Fiend, 24, 2150. Always treated as an Archfiend. Why couldn't this have been the Sword Summit? Archfiend! You control no monsters. You can special summon this card from your hand. The first time this card will be destroyed by an opponent's card effect each turn. It's not. Neither players can target other monsters with equipped spell cards or effects. Why? Why do we care? This is so random. I mean, this card is just really bad, but this is one of the most bizarrely specific effects I've ever seen. At least in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Ripplebird. Rank 1 Wind Winged Beast. 10-0. 2 level 1s. Detach 1. Target a monster on the field. Change its battle position. Whoa. Said nobody. It's really just a free detach, which isn't the worst thing ever, I guess. All monsters you control are in attack position. They gain 500, while all are in defense position. Your opponent cannot declare an attack. So, it's. I mean, the rank 1 pool has long been unimpressive. Like, purely barely considered any of them for a reason. So this is probably an upgrade on the pool, but not a substantial one. Toil of the Normal. Apply these effects in sequence. Normal Trap. Based on the normal monsters with different names in your graveyard. Skip over any that do not apply. 1 or more. Normal monster you control gain 800 attack. 2 or more. Negate an effect monster's effect on the field until the end of the turn. 3 or more. This turn normal monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. Okay, so that's actually getting into interesting stuff. 4 or more. Spin an effect monster. 5 or more, because you can have one in the EMZ. Add another Toil of the Normal. Like, it's an array of decent effects that just suffer from needing way too much setup to get to the actually really impactful ones. It's like, it's not terrible in concept, but in execution, it's. Why? Next up, we've got randomly freaking Ashen and Tistina support in 1 card. Chaotic Elements, normal spell. You can only activate each effect once per turn. Add a level 5 light or higher light or dark pyro or aqua monster from your deck or graveyard to the hand. Then if you have 3 or more pyro and or aquas in your graveyard, destroy 1 card on the field. So yeah, mostly getting to like the high level Ashens, Vados, the big Tistina bosses. Like, okay, these archetypes are more consistent, but it doesn't fix their core issues of not really doing much of anything. If your opponent controls a lighter, dark, pyro, or aqua, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it to the end phase. This is just blatantly, you'd want to get Vados off their field. Well, here you go. Like, that is the main application of this card. Legendary Lord 6 Samurai Keys on next. The boy is back. And it is not quite infinite material the way he normally is. 1 or more, 1 tuner, 1 more non-tuners, Wario Synchro Effect, Earth, 6, 18, 8. 6 samurai monsters you control gain 600 attack and defense during the battle phase only. And then the other 2 effects are each on a once per turn. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, banish a 6 strike from your graveyard, target a card on the field, destroy it. If you control 2 or more 6 samurai monsters, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. The reason they gave it the stat manipulation is they're trying to pretend to make this more battle focused again, but the reality is Sams do not care. But the reality is they were trying to preserve the original keys on stat line while referencing its pump effect that made it match Grandmaster. So to make it a little more mid-range space beater, they increased the boost to 600 from 3 and then made it apply to the defense for some reason. It's a good card. It's just not really changing some of the realities for Sams that they don't have 1-card combos. Most of their combos are like 3 cards committed, which can make them really prone to interruption. Next, Psalms of Kings. Normal trap. You can only activate one of these per turn. If you have no monsters engraved, it's a hand trap. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you cannot activate monster effects in the hand, grave, or banishment until the end of the next turn after this card activated from the hand resolves. Also negate that effect, and then if you have a trap in your graveyard, search your dominance card. This is kind of a logical expansion of the space Dominus was already exploring. Apply restriction that can be substantially limiting, and then apply solid hand trap effect. Good card, but I suspect it's not going to see a lot of use in most decks. The biggest place it fits is clearly Phantasm Spiral, since you can play all three, both this and both Dominus traps and Imperm, so you can actually reliably have this search live, as well as the destruction on the 2 Dominus traps. Decent card for what it's trying to do. It's just what it's trying to do is kind of narrow. Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice, level 6 Dark Spellcaster effect, 2017. I mean, what do you expect? It's a DMG for Shining Sark. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You can special summon this card by discarding one other card. If summoned this way, its name becomes Dark Magician Girl. The summoning condition is Apprentice Illusion Magician. It's that simple. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Shining Sark from your deck to your hand. Huzzah! Like, for a deck that needs one specific spell card to live, it sure is a lot of trouble getting to that one specific spell card. Gains 300 attack from each monster in either graveyard that mentions Shining Sark. Like, does this thing imply you would ever be in a Shining Sark mirror? This card is not fixing all the problems with that deck. Also, stat boosting isn't that big a deal. It's really just here as a reference to the original. Alright, Ryuge, whatever. Tensei Ryuge Anva. Level 10 Dark Dragon Pendulum effect. 30-21, scale 11. Then immediately the pendulum effect. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You cannot pendulum except Ryuge. This cannot be negated. It literally just exists to pendulum itself. Because you can't pendulum summon Mistva. Because it's a ritual monster you will never summon with a ritual spell. When an opponent's card or effect resolves that was activated in response to the effect of your Ryuge spell card or effect, you can negate that effect and then destroy this card. Let me point something out. Worm wins. The Ryuge bullet point effect is inherited. So that is not an effect of the spell. That is a spell effect the spells give to the associated monster. Let's go to Dino Domain because this is maybe not the best example. Monster gain 300 attack. Pendulum. Yeah. Like, why did they do this? Because it's not actually functioning support. Sea Spires the same way. The action. So, right off the bat, this is just bizarre. It doesn't even support the trap they get here. Nor does it support Rivalry, the one they already had. So that pendulum effect is kind of a bust. Only activate each effect once per turn. You contribute a Ryuge from your hand or field, except itself, to special summon from hand. When it's special summon, target a card on the field and destroy it. If this card is destroyed, place a Ryuge continuous spell or trap from your deck, graveyard, or banishment face up on your field. So really, this thing is supposed to tribute a Ryuge, summon itself, pop itself to get the trap. And otherwise, it's just a vehicle for the inherited effects. God damn, this deck is so disappointing. Ryuge Ruin. Continuous trap. Second and third effects can only be activated once per turn. Your opponent cannot target Ryuge monsters you control with card effects. Okay, that's barrier. If you have a Ryuge pendulum on your field or face up in your extra deck, you can shuffle 2 Ryuges from your hand, deck, or graveyard, or banishment into the deck, then target a field or monster on the field and destroy it. That is Chuche. If this card is destroyed, you can set 1 non-continuous Ryuge trap from your deck, graveyard, or banishment. So that gets you Rivalry. This card isn't bad, it just doesn't... It's just really funny. It's like a bunch of other... It's just cobbled together all these other good cards. Something that ends up being kind of mediocre because of the deck it's in. Now, this is where the fun begins. We're saving that for last. Ryziel support is kind of disappointing. Star Ryziel, level 4 Light Pyro, 18-0. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand by detaching Xyz material from your monster. You cannot pull a biker and detach from your opponent's X Purely Noir. It has to be your monster. If spellman this way, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except rank 4 Xyz. If this card is special summoned, set a Ryziel spell trap from your deck. So it's another way to cross. It's another way to hold. So like thruster or whatever it's called now. Like, it's not terrible, but it's probably not more than a 1 of either. Ryziel Mass Driver. Normal trap. This is not something you're going to be getting with Star because it's terrible. You can only apply the first or second effect once per turn. First and second effect once per turn. Apply this for the rest of the turn, then you can attach to a rank 4 you control. Ryziel monsters you control will gain 1,000 attack. Okay, why are we using a trap card for stat gain? This card is sent to the graveyard, except from the field. You can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard. Banish it. So it's a DD Crow with some timing problems and acts of despair for a turn for your entire board. Woo! Yeah, this is pretty dang disappointing for a deck that actually has taken some pretty heavy damage in the OCG with the limitation of X, mostly for the sins of other decks using it as an engine with 3x to 1 sword. Finally, Malice. Let's go. Malice Pawn March Hare, level 3 Dark Cyber's effect, 600, 300, so this is the lowest stat of the bunch so far. Dormouse is 9. You can only use the first and third once per turn. That's during the main phase. If this card is in your hand as a quick effect, you can banish one other Malice card from your hand or graveyard. If you do, special summon this card. This is already fantastic for Malice that kind of needed in-engine tools to extend better. Missiles are still something you're going to run because they're good into the format, but especially by the time this comes out. But yeah, this makes such a difference in play. It probably makes true pure Malice a lot more viable. Your opponent cannot target link monster that points to this card with card effects. That's probably the best arrow-related effect in the deck now. Like, it's actually, targeting protection is really good protection in many cases. If this card becomes banished, pay 300, then target one of your banished Malice monsters, add it to hand. Yes, this can target itself, so you may or may not be running Dotscaper much longer. You could just banish this and instead add it back. So, things to think about. Malice in the Mirror. It's a quick play spell, which, again, the deck needed another spell for Red Ransom. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. Target one face of monster your opponent controls. Then banish a Malice from your hand or field. If you do, negate the target monster's effect until the end of this turn. So, this is good for board breaking. It's an end board piece. So it's already fine as a searchable one of. If it becomes banished is where things get a little fun. You can target a Malice card in your graveyard, banish, and if you do, add a Malice card of the same type, monster, spell, or trap from your deck to your hand. So this is a good way to ensure follow-up or get you to March Hare when you need it, because you can banish this off a field spell. Like, just two really solid cards, especially considering the way the deck plays with the Ignister support. I expect Malice to get a huge boost in the OCG in the coming weeks. It's already a top 2 deck over there consistently. Well, that's everything, I believe. Well, something came in since I last checked. Nope. So thank you for watching and have a nice day.